our lead story, the intense differences between conservatives and liberals in America. Joining us now from Washington, Democrat Leslie Marshall attended the State of the Union address. Was that you sitting next to Harry Reid? Leslie?
Oh, well, you know, Bill, it was the date of the Union, not the State of the Union, as you know. And you didn't return my email when I asked you to be my date. So
Listen,
I guess I had to find
I didn't get
somebody.
your email because you never sent it, and you know that. So you don't try to fool the folks, because I would have been down there in a heartbeat and scared everybody. But why did you go to the State of the Union? You usually live in Southern California. Why do you want to come back to cold, snowy Washington?
Well, actually, I went to the State of the Union once before when George W. Bush was president, and I find it an honor, and I find it very exhilarating to sit in the chamber and to watch the president and to watch the Congress.
Were you
and
way
this time I wanted
back?
to go to see the pairing.
Were you way back?
I wasn't certainly on the floor with the Congress. Yeah, I was up there. I was pretty far back.
Now, you heard me in my talking points memo, and you heard Miss Laura basically say, look, the debate between liberals and conservatives tilting right. It's tilting toward the conservatives, and I think the polls back that up, and certainly the election in November did. And you say?
Well, I say that the polls show that the president's pretty popular right now, and I think that the American people are trusting him more. I would agree with you, Bill, that there is division on both sides, but in the GOP, it's a three-way division. There are the moderate Republicans who want to work with Democrats and compromise like the president wants to for the best interest of the American people. There are the Republicans that are far right and just want to unseat the president. And then there's the Tea Party faction. So I think there's more fragmentation on the right, and I think that's going to hurt the right.
You wouldn't put the Tea Party in the unseat the president category? I think I would put them there.
I would put them in the unseat category, but I do think when it comes to other legislative matters, that is a separate split.
I think there's simpatico between those who want to undo everything President Obama's done and the Tea Party in general. But the establishment, the Republican establishment, that Laura doesn't like at all, they are skeptical of the Tea Party because they think they may go a little too far and they won't get the independent voters in. Now, on the Democratic side, you heard Van Jones, our pal Van Jones, and just to remind you, this was the guy that Glenn Beck uncovered, and he was working in the Obama administration as a green job czar. He had, an office, he's getting paid. And the guy is, kind of a Marxist kind of guy, but I like him because he's very useful because he's an honest guy. He just lays it out there. He says, look, what we want is a guaranteed outcome, and the government's got to provide that for all Americans. So if I throw my life into a hopper and I pick out your life, it's the same life. And you say?
Well, I say I would agree with what you said, Bill, and I always get killed when I agree with you online, but I would agree that it's never going to be an exact level playing field for every American because we are a free society and we are a competitive society, and that's one of the things that makes our society
But Jones
great.
articulates very well why we have spent so much money in the last 2 or 3 years trying to do Obamacare, trying to do these things that elevate the people who have not to a certain status. And, okay, you're going to give 40 million people health care that I'm going to pay for, you're going to pay for. They're not going to pay for it. And then what's next? Do we have to give them a condo? Do they have to get a Corvette? I mean, it just never ends.
But Bill, social programs aren't the problem, and this isn't a fight for social justice. For some it is, but not for all. This is also about fiscal repair. You know that health care was a train wreck waiting to happen. It had to be reformation, and if it wasn't, there wouldn't just be a repeal and rewrite by Republicans. It would have been repeal and throw it out entirely. Wars are the problem. Wars are the problem. Is that socialistic? Is the military socialistic?
Wars are a problem.
Wars are costly.
There's no doubt that Iraq and Afghanistan and the war on terror in general has deflated the Treasury enormously, and we have to fight smarter in the future. I agree 100%. But I disagree with you. Obamacare is all about social justice. That's what it's about. Okay, it's about setting up a system where everybody is guaranteed the same health care. Everybody's guaranteed that. Whether you have a lot of money or no money, you're going to get the same health care. Now, in theory, that sounds good, all right? But in practice, we got a $14 trillion deficit, debt that we can't pay off. And this is going to add to it big time. Go.
Again, the reality, and my husband's a doc, you have more and more emergency rooms closing throughout the United States. Less doctors graduating from med school, less colleges entering pre-med students, less doctors being hired. That is going to be a problem physically and financially down the road for the United States of America. This is not just about social justice, it's about fiscal responsibility.
And you think that Obamacare is going to encourage more people to get into the medical profession and more emergency rooms to open their doors? You're crazy. People are bailing like they don't want the feds telling them what to do. That's what's going on. That's the erosion. If you open it up to a fair market system, and I didn't say free market, I said fair market system, you'll regain some momentum. I'll give you the last word.
What's fair about you living somewhere, hypothetically, where you can't get to an ER if you have a heart attack in an 80-mile radius because they've closed? Move.
Right.
I mean, not everyone can do that. The have-nots can't necessarily.
You said what's fair about it? If you want good medical care, move to where it is. But the government is not going to be able to level the playing field in this. It's going to fail, just like it failed in Amtrak, and it's going to cost us gazillions of dollars. Leslie, thanks very much. We appreciate it. Directly ahead, there.